everyone, it's Charlotte. I'm back. I'm going to be filming today how I edit my photos for Instagram, or how I edit my Instagram photos. For those of you who watch my What's My iPhone video, in that video I'm pretty sure I mentioned at the beginning that I wanted to do a whole separate video on how I edit my photos, since that's a whole other realm that would take a whole video to film. Just quickly before we hop into the video, I wanted to apologise for the lack of uploads for the past 2 or 3 weeks. My skin has flared up. I'm not too sure why. I've got referrals and stuff booked to try and sort it out. I'm such a sensitive and insecure person that even just looking at myself I pick faults and don't make judgments and stuff. Something that I was self-conscious of is my skin, and so the past 2 weeks when my skin has flared up I've been really conscious of it, and having to sit down and film a video and then edit it back is not something that I was particularly wanting to put myself through. I'm going to try my best to cover everything you'll need to know in this video as far as editing tips and tricks and stuff like that goes, because I know that's really useful, and I personally do watch a lot of these videos on YouTube, so I hope you all enjoy this video. If you do, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you've not already, and yeah, let's get started. So for the purposes of this video, I wanted to show you the 3 different ways in which I take photos for Instagram or for any different platform that I post edited photos on. I showed you me taking photos with my camera, with my phone, and with an app on my phone, because those are the 3 different ways in which I would take photos. First of all, I'm going to be talking about my setup when I take photos with my camera. I'm just going to really quickly, for those of you who are interested, briefly run through what camera I use. So to take the photos that I demonstrated in this video, I use the Canon EOS 700D, that is a DSLR camera that I use to film as well. I use a tripod with that. I'm not entirely sure which tripod it is, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I use a tripod just to settle the camera and keep it balanced. I also use studio lighting, which is behind me now filming, just so that I could enhance the light in the photo, because it was quite dark in my bedroom before I used the lighting. I'm going to use the app VSCO or VSCO, however you want to pronounce that. So it's an app where you can add filters and stuff like that, and this is literally one of my favourite apps. So I'm going to click the little plus button in the corner. I'm going to select the photo that I want to edit. Then I'm going to click on the little, how do you call that, the different, this is going to be terrible because I don't actually know how I'm going to describe this or explain what I'm doing. So I'm going to click on the second button in from the X, and I'm going to pick a filter. So on VSCO I tend to stick to HV2, HV1, C1 and A5. So for this particular filter, for this particular photo rather, I'm going to use the filter HV1. It makes the photo quite bright, it makes everything pop, and I like that. So I'm going to turn it down to 7.9ish, because that's a good, because I use the studio lighting in this photo, I think if I adjust the exposure it's going to be way too bright, and if I make it lower, because it's summer, I kind of may take it up just a little. I sometimes do the saturation just a little bit, especially for thumbnails, if I'm taking photos and editing them for thumbnails, because you don't see a lot of the photos because the thumbnail is quite small. I tend to take the saturation up quite high. That's what I'm going to do for this photo. Next, I tend to actually quite like adding a bit of grain to my photos. I think it makes it look a bit more vintage. I'm going to go ahead and save that now, because there's not a lot else I want to use VSCO for. Once I've saved this photo, I'm going to go ahead and check that I'm happy with it in my camera roll. So that's just kind of a way in which I edit my photos. It's the most simple way, the most common way that I ever edit my photos. All the time I use VSCO basically. So that is just how I went about editing the photo that I took with my camera. Next, I'm going to show you how to use the app HUJI, I think you pronounce it, it's HUJI. This is a new app that I've seen floating around, a lot of people using. So basically, you just buy the app, it's free. And you can basically take photos with it, and it adds light leaks to the photo for you. So just for the sake of showing you this video, we're going to go to the lab, and as you can see, it kind of adds a, what do you call that, a vintage kind of camera looking filter. The thing I enjoy about this app is that it adds light leaks for you. The light leaks are really random, so you can't choose what strength the light leak is, or where the light leak is, or what colour the light leak is, or anything like that. So you kind of just have to keep taking loads of photos, and then until you're kind of happy with a light leak on them. So this photo here actually is quite nice. It's got blue on one side and red on the other, and it is a popular filter that I've seen a lot of people using and having as their theme throughout Instagram. But it's such a nice way to be able to add something to your photo and make your theme look a bit bright and colourful, especially now that the summer is coming around. So as I mentioned previously, as good as this HUJI app is, and I do agree it is a good app, there are other apps where you can pick what light leaks you use, and I think sometimes that's quite a nice touch that you can do, because sometimes with the HUJI you can take many photos and none of them have particularly nice light leaks on, or the light leak isn't very strong. So if you're interested in wanting to add your own likes to a photo, I'm going to be showing you an app in which you can do that. So I took a few photos outside. I'm again going to put this into VSCO because I want to add a filter before I add a light leak. So I'm going to go to my camera roll. I'm going to pick my favourite one, which I would say would probably be, I like that one. So I'm going to import that. I'm going to again click on the select button at the bottom, and I'm going to use, I actually like C1 for this filter, for this photo. Yeah, okay, so we're going to use C1. I'm going to take it down just a little bit because I'm going to add a light leak to it as well, so I don't want it to be too strong. Saturation, again, I might just take that up just a little bit, but I don't want it to be too bright. I'm not going to add any grey into this one. I'm not feeling it. That's literally what I'm going to do for this. I'm going to then save that to my camera roll, and now I'm going to open it in Filter Loop. Yes, you don't have to rely on like HUJI to help add light leaks and stuff. It means you can do it completely independently, and you can add the light leaks where you want, what colour you want, and that kind of thing. So back to this, I quite like that light leak. Like, it's really light, but I quite like that, so I'm gonna put that on there. You can add multiple as well, which is nice. And obviously if you get this app, you can just play around with the different light leaks and stuff that there are. So I like this filter, this light leak even. I think I'm going to leave it at that actually, because I don't want to keep adding too many. That is the edited photo. Obviously I'm not overly happy with that. I kind of rushed taking the photos for the sake of this video, but you can kind of see how I would go about editing those photos by adding light leaks and filters and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure also to comment down below if you'd be interested in how I edit my thumbnails and how I make edits. Again, feel free to leave any comments. Make sure to subscribe if you are not already. We've just hit 400 recently, so thank you for that. Make sure you check the description box to check out my social medias, where you can go find me on Instagram, Snapchat and Twitter. I'll have them up on the screen. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say except I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!